Developed by Francois Truffaut and André Bazin, auteur theory was brought about in the film magazine named Cahiers de Cinéma. The reference to an auteur in French film criticism had identified either the author who wrote the script, or in the general sense of the term, the artist who created the film. Many films will display their auteur's signature, their individual personality portraying coherent and consistent themes and characteristics throughout their filmography. Through The Witch and the Lighthouse, Eggers uses the themes of horror, supernatural, transformation, and isolation. His films portray similar feelings to a Stephen King novel, as his style comes from appreciating the beauty and horror of New England folklore. Both films convey a purgatorial and otherworldly tone that link to themes of isolation. It could be argued that Robert Eggers is an auteur due to the painstaking levels of detail and historical accuracy included in his films. Eggers previously worked as a product designer, prop stylist, and carpenter. He worked on TV shows, short films, and experimental theatre projects while designing sets, costumes for his own ventures whenever he could make time. And the visual palette of The Witch, along with Eggers' fascination with folklore and fairy tales, is evident in his early shorts, Hansel and Gretel and The Telltale Heart. Therefore, the worlds he creates are both beautiful and meticulous, grounded as if each detail is brought from the adapted period. On the surface, The Witch follows a Puritan family who have been banished from their colony of British settlers. Their misfortunes escalate when the youngest child, Samuel, disappears from Thomason's view, foreshadowing the brutality and the further horrors the family will face. In the sequence, it's established with a fade into the woodland landscape, and then a shot-reverse shot structure of Thomason and Samuel playing peekaboo. His abduction pushes the family to make accusations and tear itself apart, whilst natural misfortunes and childish games fuel suspicion. Eggers utilises space to emphasise the paranoia and claustrophobia within The Witch, as the characters are surrounded by wild woodland. The appearance of farm animals lends to the idea of the family being penned into their surroundings. The one consistent in the film is the background scenery of the exterior shots. The trees create a two-dimensional feeling, portraying the family's banishment, while the goat, represented here by the threatening figure of Black Phillip, was apparently seldom seen as satanic in American and English folklore in the 17th century. The Lighthouse chronicles the descent into insanity as two lighthouse keepers become stranded on a desolate rock with no hope of returning to civilization. The Lighthouse uses the contrast of light and dark to portray the opposing protagonists. Willem Dafoe's character has authority over the light and denies entry to Robert Pattinson's character, as he is kept in the dark and holds a voyeuristic obsession with the light. In the final scene, Eggers slowly reveals the light, portrayed as a glass eggshell casing, to evoke fertility and fragility. The Lighthouse combines mythology and mood to tell the story about people who don't understand themselves. Like the fire Prometheus nabs from the gods, the light at the top of the tower represents everything, all knowledge, and looking into it, Robert Pattinson's character understands everything, all at once. Similar to The Witch, Eggers embeds folklore and mythology into the narratives and themes within his films. Furthermore, the use of location and composition in The Lighthouse conveys the loneliness and captivity of the characters who are stranded on the island. The film uses a 1.19:1 box-like aspect ratio and was shot on 35mm film. Acting as a nod to silent film expressionism, the vice-like frame size is perfect for the confining nature of the world. Pattinson's character is left with the responsibility of chores and labour around the lighthouse, whilst Defoe's more authorial keeper gives command and imperatives, towering over Pattinson as he works. The characters relate to Claude Levi-Strauss's theory of binary opposites, as both men are not only different in age, being in the script being named old and young, but also in temperament. Eggers' cinematography conveys the conflict and isolation of the men through confrontational shot-reverse shot structure, as the dialogue between the men evokes a physical feeling of opposition. In the opening scene, both men break the fourth wall, staring into the camera towards the audience. The Brechtian theatre technique of acknowledging the presence of the audience gives an eerie and uncomfortable atmosphere to the scene. It's reminiscent of a photograph, the last documentation of the character's attachment to civilization and sanity. In conclusion, both The Witch and The Lighthouse portray Robert Eggers as an auteur-director, as he embeds his own identity and style into all aspects of filmmaking. His obsession with folklore and psychological horror elevates the attention to detail and authorship within his filmography, with the acknowledgement of his auteur signature and recurring themes, solidifies the notion that Robert Eggers is a modern-day auteur.